The massive alien ship appeared without warning at the edge of Earth's solar system. Its dark hull stretched for miles, covered in weapons that could turn planets to dust. The ship belonged to the Galactic Council, a group of alien races that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. President Walsh sat in the emergency meeting room deep beneath the White House. Her advisors filled the chairs around the long table, their faces pale with worry. The holographic display showed the alien vessel hanging in space like a metal moon. Nobody spoke as they waited for the message they all knew was coming. The communication arrived exactly 1 hour after the ship's appearance. A tall, blue-skinned alien appeared on the main screen. His eyes were cold and his voice carried the weight of absolute authority. This was Ambassador Thane of the Alterian Republic, speaking for the entire Galactic Council. "People of Earth," Thane began, his words translated into every human language. "You have expanded too far and too fast. In 20 years, you have claimed 12 star systems. Other races took centuries to achieve what you accomplished in decades. This ends now." Defense Minister Kane leaned forward in his chair. He had warned about this day for years. The aliens had seemed friendly when they first made contact, sharing some technology and opening trade routes. But Kane always suspected they were just watching humanity grow stronger before deciding to act. "You have 6 standard cycles to comply with our demands," Thane continued. "First, you will cease all military expansion beyond your home system. Second, you will surrender your newest colony ships to Council forces. Third, you will accept Council oversight of all human activities. Refuse these terms and we will reduce your planet to ash." The transmission ended, leaving the room in deadly silence. Walsh looked around the table at her advisors. Some wanted to negotiate, others demanded immediate surrender. The alien ship had weapons that made humanity's strongest warships look like toys. Fighting seemed impossible. "How many ships do they have?" Walsh asked. General Brooks, head of Earth Defense, checked his tablet. "Our deep space sensors show the main vessel plus at least 20 escort ships. More are arriving every hour. Intelligence estimates they could have a full battle fleet within days." "And our forces?" "The home fleet has 37 active warships stationed around Earth and Mars. Another 15 are in the outer colonies, but they couldn't return in time to help. We're outnumbered and outgunned." Dr. Webb, the chief scientist of the secret Prometheus project, cleared her throat. She had been silent during the entire meeting, but now everyone turned to look at her. The Prometheus project was humanity's most classified military program, hidden in the asteroid belt where no alien sensors could detect it. "The situation may not be as hopeless as it appears," Webb said carefully. "The Council expects us to fight with the technology they've seen. They don't know about our new developments." Kane nodded. He was one of only 5 people who knew the full extent of the Prometheus project. For the past 10 years, humanity had been reverse engineering captured alien technology and combining it with human innovation. The results were beyond anything the Council expected from the young species. "How many ships?" Walsh asked quietly. 50 combat vessels of entirely new design. "They're hidden in Facility 7, ready for deployment on your command." The room erupted in surprised voices. Most of the advisors had no idea such a fleet existed. Walsh raised her hand for silence. The decision she made in the next few minutes would determine humanity's future. Admiral Rivers entered the room without being announced. His uniform was wrinkled from the emergency flight from Luna Station, where he commanded the Earth Defense Fleet. Rivers was a veteran of the border wars against pirates and had trained for exactly this scenario. "Madam President," Rivers said, saluting sharply, "the alien ship has not moved from its position. However, our long-range scans show 3 more Council dreadnoughts dropping out of hyperspace. They're positioning themselves around our system like hunters surrounding prey." "Recommendations, Admiral?" Rivers looked directly at Walsh. "If we surrender now, humanity becomes a slave species forever. The Council will control our colonies, our technology, our entire future. But if we fight, we might lose everything in." A matter of hours, or we might win, Kane added. The aliens think they know what humans are capable of. They're about to learn otherwise. Walsh stood and walked to the large window overlooking the city. Millions of people went about their daily lives, unaware that their world teetered on the edge of destruction. Children played in parks while their parents worked in offices and factories. All of it could be gone by tomorrow. What does the rest of the council know about this? She asked. Intelligence suggests this is a joint operation, Brooks replied. The Alterian Republic is leading, but they have support from at least 4 other major species. They want to make an example of us. And, if we comply with their demands? Dr. Webb shook her head. Compliance means stagnation. The Council doesn't allow member species to develop beyond certain technological levels. We would never reach the stars again. Walsh turned back to face the room. Every person present understood the weight of this moment. Humanity had come so far since developing faster than light travel. They had built cities on distant worlds and pushed the boundaries of science and exploration. All of that progress would stop if they submitted to Council rule. How long do we have to decide? Walsh asked. Ambassador Thane said 6 standard cycles. That's about 5 Earth days, Brooks answered. Then we use every hour. Admiral Rivers. Prepare the home fleet for possible engagement, Dr. Webb. How quickly can your ships be ready? The Prometheus fleet can deploy within 12 hours of your order. Walsh looked around the room one final time. The faces staring back at her showed fear, determination, and hope in equal measure. These people represented the best of humanity, and she trusted their judgment. Gentlemen, we did not come this far to surrender our freedom to alien overlords. If the Council wants Earth, they'll have to take it from us. Prepare for war. The meeting ended with a flurry of activity as each advisor rushed to implement their part of humanity's desperate plan. Outside the hidden bunker, night fell across Earth cities. Tomorrow would bring either freedom or destruction, and humanity would face that choice with weapons ready and courage burning bright in their hearts. The asteroid belt had never seen so much activity. Hidden shipyards that had operated in secret for 10 years suddenly blazed with light as thousands of workers prepared humanity's secret weapon. The Prometheus fleet emerged from camouflaged docks built inside hollowed-out asteroids, their hulls gleaming with experimental armor that combined human steel with alien materials. Captain Morgan guided her scout ship through the outer system, pushing beyond Pluto's orbit to get a closer. Look at the Council forces. Her vessel was small and fast, designed for exactly this type of reconnaissance mission. The crew of 8 worked silently at their stations, knowing that discovery meant certain death. Contact ahead, her sensor officer whispered. Big one. Looks like a Council dreadnought. Morgan studied the readings on her screen. The alien ship was massive, easily 10 times larger than anything in the human fleet. Its weapons could level cities and its shields could absorb the combined firepower of every human warship, but size wasn't everything in space combat. Take U.S. closer. I want detailed scans of their weapon systems and shield frequencies. The scout ship crept forward like a mouse approaching a sleeping cat. Council sensors were powerful, but they were designed to detect large military vessels, not tiny scouts using human stealth technology. Morgan's ship slipped past the outer sensor grid and began recording everything. What she discovered made her blood run cold. The single dreadnought she was studying wasn't alone. 3 more massive ships hung in space nearby, along with dozens of escort vessels from different alien species. The Council had assembled a crushing force, expecting humanity to surrender without a real fight. Back on Luna Station, Admiral Rivers coordinated the largest military mobilization in human history. Ships that had been scattered across 12 star systems raced back toward Earth at maximum speed. Every orbital platform armed its weapons. Every space dock became a fortress. The hidden Prometheus fleet took its position in the asteroid belt, ready to strike when the moment came. These ships were different from anything humanity had built before. They combined the best human engineering with captured alien technology. creating vessels that looked familiar but fought like nothing the Council had ever faced. Dr. Webb worked frantically in her laboratory aboard the research station. The alien probe ships that had been destroyed near Mars provided valuable intelligence, but she needed time to analyze the wreckage. Each piece of debris told a story about Council technology and its weaknesses. The plasma conduits are routed through their main computer core, she explained to her team. If we can disrupt their central processing system, their weapons and shields become useless. Her assistant, a young engineer named Roberts, looked up from his analysis. Doctor, I think I found something. Their shield generators use a rotating frequency pattern, but there's a gap every 12 seconds. A precisely timed electromagnetic pulse could bring down their entire defensive grid. Webb smiled for the first time in days. Human ingenuity was about to meet alien arrogance, and the results would shock the galaxy on Earth. The population rallied with determination that surprised even their leaders. Factory workers volunteered for extended shifts, building ammunition and spare parts around the clock. Scientists shared breakthrough technologies freely, abandoning years of research secrecy to help the war effort. Retired military personnel returned to service, bringing decades of experience to the fight. President Walsh addressed the world from the United Nations building in New York. Her words were broadcast to every human colony and settlement, reaching millions of people who had never seen Earth but still called it home. Today we face the greatest challenge in human history, she said, looking directly into the camera. An alien empire demands our surrender, our freedom, our future. They expect us to submit because we are young and supposedly weak. They are about to discover how wrong they are. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Volunteers flooded recruitment centers. Civilian ships offered their services as supply vessels. Even children contributed by collecting scrap metal for the war factories. Captain Lee commanded the defensive pickets around Mars, where the first real skirmishes took place. Council probe ships pushed into the inner system, testing human defenses and gathering intelligence. Lee's forces were outnumbered, but they had advantages the aliens didn't expect. Enemy scouts approaching Sector 7, his tactical officer reported. 3 vessels, medium size. Launched the surprise package. Lee ordered. The surprise package was a new type of mine that looked like space debris, but contained enough explosive power to crack a ship's hull. The alien scouts, confident in their superiority, flew straight into the trap. 2 ships were destroyed instantly. While the third limped away with severe damage, the wreckage from this engagement provided Dr. Webb with the final pieces she needed. Her electromagnetic pulse weapon was completed just as Admiral Rivers received word that the Council fleet was beginning to move toward Earth. In the hidden command bunker beneath Washington, President Walsh met with her war cabinet for the final time before battle. The mood was grim but determined. Everyone knew the odds, but nobody suggested surrender. Intelligence reports that 4 separate alien species are participating in this attack, General Brooks announced. The Alterians are leading, but they have support from the hegemony, the Trade Federation, and the warrior clans. How does that affect our strategy? Walsh asked. Admiral Rivers answered. Different species means different technologies and tactics. They'll have trouble coordinating their attack, especially if we can disrupt their communications. The electromagnetic pulse weapon is ready, Dr. Webb added. Each of our ships can generate a focused burst that will disable Council computer systems, but we only get 1 shot before they adapt their defenses. Then we make that shot count, Rivers replied. The final hours before battle passed quickly. Human ships took their positions throughout the solar system, ready to defend their home with everything they had. The Prometheus fleet remained hidden in the asteroid belt, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal themselves. On the bridge of the battleship Defiance, humanity's most advanced warship, Captain Torres reviewed the battle plan one final time. Her ship would lead the first wave, drawing the alien fleet into range of the hidden weapons. It was a dangerous mission with little chance of survival, but Torres had volunteered without hesitation. The Council ultimatum expired at midnight Earth time. Ambassador Thane's final message was brief and cold. You have chosen destruction over wisdom. Your world will burn as an example to others who might challenge the Council's authority. But humanity was ready. The alien fleet began its advance. On Earth, expecting to find a broken species begging for mercy. Instead, they would discover that humans fight hardest when their backs are against the wall, and that freedom is worth any price. The war began with silence. Council ships advanced through the outer solar system like sharks moving through dark water, their massive hulls reflecting the distant light of the sun. Ambassador Thane believed this would be over within hours. Humanity would see the overwhelming force arrayed against them and surrender before the first shots were fired. He was wrong. The initial engagement happened near Jupiter's fourth moon. A squadron of Council frigates, sleek vessels designed for quick strikes against rebellious colonies, detected what appeared to be a small human patrol. The alien commander, eager to draw first blood, ordered an immediate attack without waiting. For backup, Captain Torres waited until the enemy ships came within optimal range. Her cruiser Retribution hung motionless in space, playing dead while the alien vessels approached with weapons charged. Her crew had trained for this moment for years, running simulations of battles they hoped would never happen. Enemy frigates closing to attack range, her tactical officer reported. They're charging plasma cannons. Hold position, Torres ordered. Let them think we're helpless. The Council ships spread into attack formation, confident that one small human cruiser posed no threat. Their sensors showed standard Earth technology, nothing they hadn't seen before. The aliens had no idea they were looking at humanity's newest warship, disguised to appear primitive. All ships, this is Torres. Execute Phoenix Protocol in 3, 2, 1, mark. The Retribution transformed in seconds. Hidden weapon ports opened along her hull, revealing plasma cannons reverse-engineered from captured alien technology. Her engines blazed to life, pushing the ship forward at speeds that shocked the Council pilots. Most importantly, her new electromagnetic pulse generators charged to full power. The first EMP burst caught the lead Council frigate completely unprepared. Its computers crashed, weapons went offline, and shields collapsed. Before the alien crew could react, the Retribution's kinetic projectiles tore through their hull like paper. The frigate exploded in a brilliant flash of light. Second target, engaging now, Torres announced. The remaining Council ships tried to retreat, but human ships were faster and more maneuverable than expected. Torres led her squadron in a devastating attack that destroyed 2 more alien vessels and sent the survivors limping back toward the main fleet. News of the victory spread across human space within hours. For the first time since the crisis began, people dared to hope the aliens were not invincible. They could be hurt and they could be beaten, but the victory came with a price. Council sensors recorded everything, analyzing human tactics and technology. Ambassador Thane realized that Earth's species was far more dangerous than intelligence reports suggested. His response was swift and merciless. Deploy the main battle fleet, Thane ordered from the bridge of his flagship. No more probe attacks. We crushed them with overwhelming force. 4 massive dreadnoughts began moving toward Earth, each one accompanied by dozens of escort vessels. The combined firepower could sterilize planets, and Thane intended to use every weapon at his disposal. Humanity would serve as an example to other young species who might consider challenging. Council authority. Merrill Rivers watched the alien advance from his command center on Luna Station. The hidden Prometheus fleet was still concealed in the asteroid belt, but he couldn't keep them secret much longer. Once the Council ships entered the inner system, human forces would have to reveal their true strength. Sir, we're receiving surrender offers from 3 Council vessels. His communications officer reported. Rivers looked up in surprise. Surrender offers? Yes, sir. These ships were damaged in the Jupiter engagement. Their crews are requesting asylum rather than rescue by their own forces. This was unprecedented. In thousands of years of Council history, no member species had ever defected to join a rebel cause. The fact that alien crews preferred human captivity to returning to their own fleet spoke volumes about how the Council treated its people. Grant their request, Rivers decided. Place them in protective custody and treat their wounded. Maybe we can learn something useful. The defecting aliens provided intelligence that changed everything. They revealed that Council ships relied on centralized command networks with all tactical decisions flowing from the flagship. Disrupt the main command vessel, and the entire fleet would become confused and disorganized. Dr. Webb worked around the clock to modify her electromagnetic weapons based on this new information. If human ships could target the Council flagship's command center, they might be able to turn the alien fleet's size against itself. Captain Foster prepared her destroyer, valiant for what everyone knew would be a suicide mission. Her ship was small and fast, designed to slip through enemy defenses and deliver a killing blow to the target. The chances of survival were minimal, but Foster had volunteered without hesitation. The electromagnetic torpedo is loaded and ready. Her weapons officer reported, 1 shot, maximum power. Understood. Take us to attack position. The main battle began as the Council fleet crossed Mars orbit. Human ships emerged from hidden positions throughout the inner system, revealing the true extent of Earth's defenses. The aliens had expected to face 30 or 40 primitive warships. Instead, they found themselves fighting nearly 100 vessels equipped with hybrid human-alien technology. The first exchange of fire lit up the void between worlds. Council plasma beams met human kinetic projectiles in a deadly dance of destruction. Ships on both sides took damage, but the aliens still held the advantage in raw firepower. That changed when the Prometheus fleet revealed itself. 50 advanced warships emerged from the asteroid belt like avenging angels, their hulls gleaming with experimental armor and their weapons charged for battle. The Council forces had no idea these ships existed, and their sudden appearance turned a manageable fight into chaos. Captain Morgan led the first Prometheus squadron into battle, her ship moving with deadly grace through the enemy formation. The new human vessels fought unlike anything the Council had faced before, combining alien technology with human tactical innovation in ways that seemed impossible. All units, focus fire on the flagship, Admiral Rivers ordered. Take down their command ship and the rest will follow. The massive Council dreadnought Sovereignty became the center of a deadly storm as dozens of human ships converged on its position. Its shields held against the initial assault, but cracks began to appear as repeated hits weakened the defensive grid. Captain Foster chose her moment perfectly. The Valiant streaked through the battle zone, dodging plasma fire and debris as it raced toward the enemy flagship. Council fighters tried to intercept, but human escort ships cleared a path with concentrated firepower. "This is Foster to all ships," she announced over the radio. "If we don't make it back, tell Earth that we gave them everything we had." The Valiant's electromagnetic torpedo struck the Sovereignty's command deck with devastating effect. The massive dreadnought systems failed one by one as electromagnetic pulses cascaded through its computer networks. Weapons went offline, shields collapsed, and the ship began to drift helplessly, without their flagship to coordinate the battle. The Council fleet fell into confusion. Different alien species used different communication protocols, making coordination nearly impossible. Some ships continued fighting, others attempted to retreat, and a few simply stopped moving as their crews argued about what to do. Human forces pressed their advantage, focusing fire on isolated enemy vessels while avoiding the still dangerous dreadnoughts. The battle that was supposed to end in hours stretched into a full day of fighting throughout the solar system. When the shooting finally stopped, Earth still turned in its ancient orbit. The Council fleet was broken, scattered, or destroyed. Humanity had achieved the impossible, defeating an enemy that had ruled the galaxy for millennia, but victory came with terrible cost. Nearly half the human fleet was destroyed or crippled. Thousands of brave men and women had given their lives to keep Earth free. The survivors looked up at their blue world and knew that nothing would ever be the same. 3 days after the first victory, space around Earth filled with the largest fleet ever assembled. The Council had called upon every loyal species, demanding ships and crews to crush the human rebellion before it could spread. Massive dreadnoughts from a dozen different worlds formed attack formations that stretched across millions of miles. Admiral Rivers studied the tactical display from his command ship, the newly commissioned battleship Terra. The alien fleet outnumbered his forces 3-1, and their combined firepower could crack planets. But humanity had learned valuable lessons from the previous battle, and they would not face this threat alone. The defected Council crews had provided detailed intelligence about alien ship designs and tactics. More importantly, word of humanity's victory had spread throughout the galaxy, inspiring other subjugated species to consider their own rebellion. Secret messages arrived daily from worlds that had suffered under Council rule for centuries. Sir. Incoming transmission from the Alterian vessel Storm's End, his communications officer reported. They're requesting permission to join our fleet. Rivers allowed himself a small smile. The Storm's End was commanded by Captain Voss, an Alterian military officer who had grown sick of the Council's oppressive policies. His defection brought not just one ship, but vital knowledge about the enemy fleet's command structure. Permission granted. Assign them to Battle Group 7 with Captain Bell's squadron. The preparations for battle revealed humanity's greatest strength, their ability to adapt and innovate under pressure. Human engineers worked alongside alien defectors to modify weapons and shields, creating hybrid technologies that neither species could have developed alone. The result was a combined fleet unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Dr. Webb had made a breakthrough that could change everything. Her analysis of captured Council equipment revealed that alien ships used quantum entanglement for instant communication across vast distances. But the same technology that made their coordination possible also created a vulnerability that human forces could exploit. If we can generate a quantum disruption field at the right frequency, she explained to the assembled fleet commanders, we can sever their communication links entirely. Each ship will be fighting blind, unable to coordinate with the rest of the fleet. The plan was dangerous and complex, requiring perfect timing from dozens of ships spread across the entire solar system. But it offered humanity's only hope of victory against such overwhelming odds. Captain Foster had survived her suicide mission against the Sovereignty, though her ship was badly damaged. Now she commanded a hastily repaired destroyer that served as one of the quantum disruption generators. The electromagnetic weapons that had proven so effective were being modified for this new purpose. The Council fleet attacked at dawn, Earth time. 4 massive battle groups advanced from different directions, planning to crush human resistance through sheer, overwhelming force. Ambassador Thane commanded from his new flagship, a dreadnought called Divine Justice that dwarfed even the destroyed Sovereignty. Today we end this rebellion, Thane announced to his fleet. Show no mercy to the humans or their alien allies. Let the galaxy see what happens to those who challenge the natural order. The first phase of the battle unfolded exactly as the Council expected. Human ships fought bravely but were forced back by superior numbers and firepower. Several human vessels were destroyed in the opening exchanges, and it appeared that Earth's defenses were cracking under pressure. But Admiral Rivers was following a carefully planned strategy. His ships retreated toward predetermined positions, drawing the enemy fleet deeper into the solar system, where the quantum disruption field could be most effective. All units, execute Prometheus Rising in 30 seconds, Rivers ordered. The quantum disruption generators activated simultaneously across the system. Human ships that had been retreating suddenly unleashed coordinated electromagnetic pulses, creating a web of interference that severed all Council communication links. In seconds, the massive alien fleet became a collection of isolated ships, fighting without coordination. Captain Morgan led the counterattack from the asteroid belt, where the rebuilt Prometheus fleet had been waiting in ambush. These ships were even more advanced than the original designs, incorporating lessons learned from previous battles. They struck the confused Council forces like lightning. Hitting where the enemy was weakest, the battle for Sol became the largest. Space combat in galactic history. Hundreds of ships fought across multiple planets and moons, with engagements ranging from massive fleet actions to small dogfights between individual vessels. The quantum disruption field turned the Council's numerical advantage into a liability as alien ships accidentally fired on each other in the confusion. Captain Torres, now commanding the heavy cruiser Defiance, found herself facing 3 Council dreadnoughts simultaneously. Her ship was fast and well-armed, but the enemy vessels each outgunned her 10-1. The solution came from an unexpected source: Captain Voss and his Alterian allies. "Human vessel, this is Storm's End," Voss transmitted. "We know the weak points in those dreadnoughts. Follow our lead." The combined human-Alterian squadron executed a complex attack pattern that targeted the enemy ship's power cores simultaneously. The massive dreadnoughts, designed to fight enemies that used conventional tactics, couldn't adapt quickly enough to the coordinated assault. All 3 were destroyed within minutes. Similar scenes played out across the battlefield as human innovation combined with alien knowledge to defeat supposedly superior forces. The Council had ruled through intimidation and technological stagnation for so long that they had forgotten how to fight an enemy that refused to follow established patterns. Dr. Webb made a crucial discovery during the height of the battle. The quantum disruption field was affecting more than just enemy communications. It was also interfering with the Council's advanced shield generators, creating gaps that human weapons could exploit. "All ships, concentrate fire on enemy shield generators," she broadcast on all frequencies. "The disruption field is making them vulnerable to kinetic projectiles." The tide of battle shifted decisively in humanity's favor. Council ships that had seemed invincible suddenly found their defenses failing under focused human attacks. Alien crews who had expected an easy victory instead watched their massive vessels break apart under devastating bombardments. Ambassador Thane realized his fleet was losing when reports stopped coming from entire battle groups. The quantum disruption field had isolated his flagship from the rest of the Council forces, leaving him blind to the overall tactical situation. What had begun as humanity's execution was becoming the Council's destruction. "All ships, fall back to Rally Point 7. Thane ordered, hoping his vessels could still receive the transmission. "We must regroup and coordinate a new attack." But many Council ships never received the retreat order. Those that did found their escape routes blocked by human forces that seemed to anticipate every move. The carefully planned attack had become a chaotic rout, with alien vessels fleeing in all directions or surrendering to preserve their crews. The battle's end came when Captain Bell's squadron cornered the Divine Justice near Jupiter. Thane's flagship was alone, cut off from support and facing a dozen human vessels equipped with the latest hybrid weapons. The ambassador who had threatened to burn Earth from orbit found himself begging for mercy. "This is Admiral Rivers to all Council forces," the human commander announced. "Surrender immediately and you will be treated according to the laws of war. Continue fighting and face destruction." The response was overwhelming. Nearly 200 alien ships lowered their weapons and requested safe passage for their crews. The massive Council fleet that had seemed unstoppable just hours before was now broken and defeated. As rescue ships searched for survivors among the wreckage, humanity looked up at the stars with new understanding. They were no longer alone in the galaxy, and they were no longer weak. The species that had dared to challenge an ancient empire had won their freedom through courage, innovation, and the willingness to stand together against impossible odds. 6 months after the Battle of Sol, the galaxy looked completely different. News of humanity's impossible victory had spread to every inhabited world, inspiring rebellions that the ancient council could no longer suppress. Species that had been enslaved for millennia suddenly discovered they could fight back against their oppressors. President Walsh stood at the observation deck of Luna Station, now expanded into a massive diplomatic complex. Representatives from 17 different species had gathered to form something the galaxy had never seen, an alliance based on cooperation rather than domination. The Federation of Independent Systems was being born from the ashes of the old order, The Alterian Republic had been the first to join humanity's cause. Captain Voss, now promoted to admiral, commanded joint human-Alterian fleets that patrolled the outer systems. His people had suffered under council rule just as much as any other species, despite their privileged position in the hierarchy. The council maintained power through fear and division, Voss explained to the assembled delegates. They convinced each species that they were alone, that resistance was impossible. Humanity proved that wrong. The meeting hall buzzed with translation devices as representatives spoke in dozens of different languages. The Keth brought their advanced medical knowledge, offering to share treatments that could extend human lifespans by centuries. The Zephyrians contributed their expertise in faster-than-light travel, promising to help humanity reach distant galaxies, but not everyone welcomed the changes. Deep in council space, the remaining loyalist forces were gathering for one final assault. The old guard refused to accept that their thousand-year reign was ending, and they blamed humanity for every rebellion that followed. Admiral Rivers, now commanding the combined fleets of 7 species, received intelligence reports about the gathering storm. The council remnants had assembled nearly 300 ships, including some of their most advanced dreadnoughts. They were planning a strike at Earth itself, hoping to decapitate the rebellion by destroying its symbolic heart. They want to prove that the old ways are still stronger, Rivers told his staff during a strategic planning session. If they can destroy Earth, they believe the other species will lose hope and return to council rule. Dr. Webb had been busy in the months since the battle. Working with alien scientists from multiple species, she had developed technologies that seemed like magic just a year before. Quantum computers that could process information faster than light. Energy shields that drew power directly from stars. Weapons that could disable enemy fleets without destroying the ships or killing the crews. The Council bases their entire philosophy on the belief that some species are naturally superior to others, Webb explained to a gathering of Federation scientists. Our success comes from proving that cooperation produces better results than domination. The final test of this philosophy came when the Council's revenge fleet attacked the Federation's outer colonies. The assault was massive and coordinated, designed to overwhelm the defenders through sheer brutal force. But the attackers found themselves facing an enemy they couldn't understand. Human ships fought alongside former Council vessels in perfect coordination. Alterian commanders took orders from human captains without question. Species that had been enemies for centuries worked together as if they had been allies forever. The Federation fleet moved like a single organism, each ship supporting the others in ways the Council had never imagined possible. Captain Foster, now commanding the advanced destroyer Phoenix, led a mixed squadron of human and alien vessels against the Council's left flank. Her crew included officers from 4 different species, all trained in Federation tactics that emphasized flexibility over rigid doctrine. "Enemy dreadnought approaching, Captain," her Keth tactical officer reported. "Shall I target their weapons?" "Systems?" "Negative," Foster replied. "Target their communication arrays. Let's see how well they fight when they can't coordinate with their fleet." The battle was brutal but brief. Council forces, trained to fight individual species using predictable tactics, couldn't adapt to the Federation's hybrid approach. Human innovation combined with alien expertise created combat techniques that no single species could have developed alone. When the shooting stopped, nearly half the Council fleet had surrendered rather than face destruction. The crews who had come to crush the rebellion instead found themselves witnessing its strength firsthand. Many requested asylum, preferring Federation freedom to Council servitude. The victory celebration on Earth lasted for days. Every major city held parades honoring the heroes who had saved not just humanity, but the entire galaxy from tyranny. Children who had never seen an alien being cheered as Alterian pilots marched alongside human veterans. But the real celebration was quieter and more profound. In laboratories across Federation space, scientists from dozens of species worked together on projects that would benefit everyone. Medical breakthroughs that could eliminate disease, agricultural techniques that could feed entire worlds. Exploration technologies that would open new frontiers among the stars. President Walsh addressed the first full session of the Federation Council from the rebuilt chamber on Luna Station. Her words were translated into 43 languages and broadcast to every member world, reaching billions of beings who had never known freedom before. "We stand at the beginning of a new age," she declared. "Not an age ruled by force or fear, but one built on cooperation and mutual respect. The galaxy is vast enough for all of us to thrive together." The old council, reduced to barely a dozen systems on the galactic rim, attempted one final assault 6 months later. This time, they faced not just the Federation fleet, but volunteer forces from species that had never joined any alliance before. The battle lasted only hours before the council remnants scattered to remote systems where they could no longer threaten anyone. In the aftermath of victory, humanity found itself changed. The species that had once struggled to reach their own moon now commanded fleets that patrolled entire sectors of the galaxy. But more importantly, they had become teachers and partners to races that had forgotten how to dream of something better. Captain Morgan, promoted to admiral after her heroic service, led the first joint exploration mission beyond the galaxy's edge. Her fleet included ships from 12 different species, each contributing unique capabilities to the expedition. Together, they would search for new worlds and new forms of life among the distant stars. Dr. Webb established the Prometheus Institute on Earth, where the brightest minds from across the Federation worked on challenges that benefited everyone. The quantum technologies that had won the war were now being used to build communication networks that connected every world in real time. The weapons that had defeated the Council were being converted into tools for terraforming dead planets into gardens. The final message came from an unexpected source. Ambassador Thane, the former Council representative who had threatened to destroy Earth, sent a communication from his exile on a distant world. His words were simple but carried deep meaning for those who remembered the war. "I spent my life believing that strength came from controlling others," Thane wrote. "Humanity taught the galaxy that true strength comes from lifting others up. The Council ruled through fear for 1,000 years and accomplished nothing lasting. In 20 years, the Federation has transformed more worlds than we changed in a millennium." His message continued with an unexpected request. "I ask not for forgiveness, but for the chance to contribute to what you are building. Even an old enemy can learn new ways." President Walsh read the message aloud to the Federation Council. The chamber fell silent as delegates considered the implications. After long debate, they voted to allow Thane to join a humanitarian mission to war-torn worlds, working to rebuild what the Council had destroyed. The decision surprised many, but it perfectly represented the Federation's core principle that redemption was possible for anyone willing to embrace cooperation over domination. Even former enemies could become allies if they genuinely sought to change. Years passed, and the galaxy continued to transform. Trade routes that had been monopolized by Council elites opened to all species. Scientific knowledge that had been hoarded by the ruling class became freely available. Worlds that had been strip-mined for the benefit of distant masters began to heal under Federation protection. Humanity's role evolved from warriors to facilitators. Human diplomats helped resolve ancient conflicts between species that had been encouraged to fight each other under Council rule. Human engineers taught advanced construction techniques to races rebuilding their devastated homeworlds. Human teachers established schools where young beings from different species learned together. The greatest testament to the new order came when the Federation faced its first major crisis. A plague swept through the outer colonies, threatening billions of lives. Instead of hoarding cures or abandoning affected worlds, every member species contributed their expertise to fight the disease. The Keth provided medical knowledge, the Zephyrians offered rapid transportation, and humans coordinated the massive relief effort. The plague was defeated within months, but the real victory was seeing how naturally the different species worked together. Children who had grown up in the Federation couldn't imagine a galaxy where beings fought over differences instead of celebrating them. Admiral Rivers, now elderly but still sharp, watched the final council stronghold surrender from the bridge of his flagship. The last remnants of the old regime had finally accepted that their time was over. More importantly, their surrender came not through military defeat but through the voluntary choice of their own people, who had seen the prosperity and freedom that Federation membership offered. "Signal from the surface, Admiral," his communications officer reported. "The planetary government is requesting immediate Federation aid to help transition to democratic rule." Rivers smiled. "Grant their request. Send relief ships and diplomatic teams. Let's show them what cooperation can accomplish." The transformation was complete. The galaxy that had once groaned under the weight of authoritarian rule now thrived. Under principles of mutual respect and shared prosperity, species that had been enemies for millennia worked side by side on projects that benefited everyone. Earth, the small blue world that had dared to defy an empire, became the symbolic heart of this new civilization. Pilgrims from across the galaxy visited to see where the revolution began, but they found something more important than historical monuments. They found a living example of what was possible when beings chose cooperation over conquest. As the years turned to decades, humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy became clear. It wasn't their military prowess or technological innovation, though both had been crucial. It was their stubborn insistence that freedom and dignity belonged to everyone, regardless of species or origin. The Federation continued to grow, welcoming new members from the far reaches of the galaxy. Each edition brought new perspectives and capabilities, making the whole greater than the sum of its parts. The diversity that the Council had seen as weakness became the Federation's greatest strength. In the end, humanity's victory over the Council was just the beginning. Their real triumph was proving that different species could build something beautiful together, creating a galaxy where every being had the chance to reach for the stars and achieve their dreams. The war had ended with humanity's survival, but the peace that followed transformed the entire universe.